Have you ever watched a flamingo standing perfectly still in the shallow water? Have you noticed how they balance on just one leg, looking like delicate statues painted in shades of pink and coral? It is a sight of pure beauty. But did you know that long ago, in the very beginning of the bird kingdom, the flamingo was not pink at all? And it certainly didn't like standing in the water. This is the story of a mistake, a pair of forbidden socks, and a lesson learned the hard way. Welcome back to Tales of the Dream. Tonight, we are going to fly over the whispering marshlands, past the cloud mountains, to a time when the world was new and the animals could speak to one another. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the mist of the dream world surround you. Let us uncover the legend of the flamingo's socks. Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley where the rivers sang lullabies to the stones, lived the ancestors of the flamingo. But this flamingo was different from the ones you see at the zoo today. He was tall, yes. He had a long, graceful neck, yes. But his feathers were as white as the snow on the highest peak, and his legs were pale and plain. This flamingo, however, had a personality that was anything but plain. He was, to put it gently, obsessed with his appearance. Every morning, while the other birds were busy hunting for worms or building nests for their little ones, the flamingo would stand by the clearest pool of water, admiring his reflection. He would preen his white feathers for hours, making sure not a single plume was out of place. "Oh, how magnificent I am," he would whisper to the ripples in the water. "But I could be better. I must be the most beautiful bird in the entire world." One crisp autumn morning, a buzz of excitement swept through the forest. The wind carried whispers, and the leaves rustled with news. A golden eagle, the royal messenger, soared down from the high cliffs, dropping invitations made of shimmering oak leaves to every corner of the forest. The king of birds, the mighty lion of the skies, or perhaps the great eagle king himself, legends vary, was getting married. It was to be the wedding of the century. Every bird, from the tiniest hummingbird to the largest ostrich, was invited. There would be dancing, singing, and a grand feast. But for our flamingo, the news brought a wave of anxiety rather than joy. "A wedding," he exclaimed, pacing back and forth on the muddy bank. "The king is getting married. All the eyes of the kingdom will be there. The peacocks will spread their magnificent tails. The parrots will show off their rainbows. The swans will glide with their royal elegance. How will I stand out? I am just white." He spent days in deep thought. He didn't eat, he barely slept. He tried weaving flowers into his wings, but they wilted. He tried covering himself in sparkling dust, but the wind blew it away. He needed something permanent. Something striking. Something that no one else had. Finally, his eyes drifted down to his legs. "My legs," he mused. "They are long and slender, my best feature. But they are so pale. If I could only draw attention to them. If I could wear something on them." And then, the idea struck him like a bolt of lightning. Socks. He decided he would wear the most magnificent socks anyone had ever seen. But in the world of birds, there were no shops. There were no markets or malls to buy silk or wool. If he wanted socks, he would have to make them himself. But what material was worthy of a bird who wanted to outshine the bride? Seeking guidance, he went to visit the old owl, who lived in the hollow of an ancient sycamore tree. The owl was known for his wisdom and his ability to see the truth in the dark. "Oh, wise owl," the flamingo called out, bowing dramatically. "I need your advice. I must be the most beautiful guest at the king's wedding. I have decided to decorate my legs. What should I do to make everyone look at me?" The owl opened one large, amber eye and looked at the vain bird. He hooted softly, a sound that carried the weight of centuries. "My dear flamingo," the owl said, his voice raspy and deep. "Focusing only on your appearance is a mistake. True beauty comes from within, from your skills and your character. Look at your wings, you can learn to dance. Look at your throat, you can learn to sing. Or perhaps, become a great hunter and bring a gift to the king. That is how you gain respect, not by dressing up." The flamingo listened, but he did not hear. Inside his head, he was already dismissing the owl's words. "Dance? Sing? Hunt?" he thought with a scoff. "This owl is old and boring. He sits in the dark all day. What does he know of fashion and glamour? Even the eagle is just a hunter. I want to be a star." "Thank you, owl," the flamingo lied, forcing a smile. "I will consider your words." He flew away, leaving the wise old bird shaking his head in the shadows. Next, he met a swallow, darting through the air like a black arrow. The swallow was agile and quick. "Oh, swallow," the flamingo cried. "You travel far and wide. Tell me, how can I make my legs look beautiful for the wedding?" The swallow slowed down, circling the flamingo. "Your legs," the swallow chirped cheerfully. "But you have such wonderful, long legs already. If I had legs like that, I wouldn't cover them up. I would walk proudly. If you just walk with confidence, everyone will admire you. I can't even walk properly, I have to fly everywhere." The flamingo was curious. "So, what will you do at the wedding?" "My whole family will fly in formation above the ceremony," the swallow said, beaming. "We will dance in the sky." "You look beautiful when you fly," the flamingo admitted, trying to be polite, but in his heart, he was dissatisfied. Advice about natural beauty and confidence was not what he wanted. He wanted to dazzle. He wanted to shock. He continued his journey, feeling frustrated. He walked through the dense forest, his eyes scanning the ground for something colorful. He passed emerald green moss, but it was too dull. He passed yellow dandelions, but they were too common. Then, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the path, he saw them. Lying on a warm rock were two snakes. But these were not ordinary snakes. They were coral snakes. Their skin was a vibrant, glowing red, striped with bands of black and yellow. They shimmered like jewels in the dying light. They were resting, basking in the last heat of the day. The flamingo stopped dead in his tracks. His heart began to pound. "That color," he whispered. "It is the color of the sunset. It is the color of fire. If I had legs of that color, I would surely be the king of the ball." A dark thought entered his mind. A thought driven by pure vanity. He didn't see living creatures, he saw material for his socks. He saw accessories. The warnings of the owl faded away. The kindness of the swallow was forgotten. Overcome by greed for their beauty, the flamingo made a terrible move. With his sharp beak, he attacked the sleeping snakes. It was a swift and cruel act. He took their beautiful skins, leaving the poor creatures behind, and wrapped the coral red skins around his own pale legs. He looked down. The effect was startling. His legs now burned with a bright, intense red. "Perfect," he breathed. "I look absolutely perfect." Filled with pride, he began to strut toward the wedding venue. He walked with his beak held high, imagining the gasps of the other birds. "Look at the flamingo," they would say. "Look at his magnificent coral legs. But the forest has eyes, and the forest has a memory." As he walked down the path, swaying his hips to show off his new socks, he passed a hollow log. Suddenly, a hissing sound erupted from the shadows. It wasn't just one snake, it was a whole family. The relatives of the snakes he had harmed had been watching. They had seen his cruelty. "You," hissed a large serpent, sliding out onto the path. "You harmed our kin just for your vanity. You killed for a costume." Before the flamingo could react, the snakes lunged. They didn't aim for his body or his wings, they aimed for his legs, the legs he was so proud of. They bit him, their fangs sinking into the stolen skins and the flesh beneath. "For your vanity, you shall suffer," they hissed. "Shame on you!" The flamingo screamed in pain. The venom was hot, burning like liquid fire. His legs began to swell instantly. They turned from the stolen coral color to an angry, inflamed pink and red. The pain was unbearable. It felt as if his legs were on fire. He forgot about the wedding. He forgot about the king. He forgot about showing off. All he could think about was stopping the burning sensation. "Water! I need water!" he cried. He ran blindly through the forest, stumbling on his swollen legs. He reached the edge of the Great Lake and plunged into the muddy, shallow water. He didn't care that the water was murky. He didn't care that the mud would dirty his feathers. He just wanted relief. The cool mud soothed the stinging bites. The cold water numbed the throbbing pain. He stood there, shivering, afraid to step out. Every time he tried to leave the water, the burning returned, and the fear of the snakes lurking in the grass terrified him. Meanwhile, at the wedding, the party was in full swing. The king noticed the flamingo was missing. A stork, a distant cousin of the flamingo, stepped forward and told the king what had happened. He told the tale of the vanity, the snakes, and the cruel theft. The king, usually kind, frowned deeply. He did not send a doctor. He did not send medicine. To think one would try to outshine the bride, to harm another creature for mere decoration, that is arrogance, the king proclaimed. Let him stay in the water. Let his legs bear the color of his shame. And so, the flamingo stayed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into years. The flamingo's legs never returned to their original white. The venom and the magic of the forest changed him forever. His feathers, too, began to turn pink, perhaps from the shrimp he ate in the mud, or perhaps as a reflection of his legs. The other birds would fly over and whisper, "Look, it is his own mistake. His own fault." The flamingo learned to sleep standing up in the water, often tucking one leg up into his feathers to warm it and give it a rest from the pain. He became shy, sticking to the shallow waters where he could be safe from the snakes on the land. And that, my friends, is the legend of why the flamingo is pink and why it stands in the water. But tell me, do you think the punishment was too harsh? A. Yes, the king should have forgiven him. B. No, he harmed nature for vanity and deserved it. Let me know your answer in the comments below. Thank you for journeying into the dream world with us today. Remember, true beauty isn't what you wear, but who you are inside. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more magical tales. Sweet dreams, and good night.